Hi guys, I wanted to make a video going over the review so that way you can kind of pause, rewind, and learn at your own pace. I cleaned up the review a little bit too since yesterday. I added some more descriptions and some arrows here to help you remember which one's domain and range. So we talked about this first example. If somebody is standing here and they launch an object off the ground and back onto the ground, again, the domain would be the X values, so it goes from 0 to 4. You'll likely see your exam choices written like this, or you could write it 0, 4 with brackets around it. The range in this example is the Y values, so it would be the height for this example. Now, the object starts on the ground at 0 height, goes all the way up to 64. So the range 0 is less than Y is less than or equal to 64. That is an underline there. So Y is somewhere in between 0 and 64. You will likely see it written like this on your exam. So I wanted to talk again about question number 2. We went over it yesterday. And so there was a little confusion on this first one here. So I wanted to rewrite it again. And so I'm going to grab another sheet of paper so that way I can kind of extend what I was saying yesterday. So we watched a video where the person broke these things down. So 10 times x times x times x, right? X times x times x. And then the 10 can break down to a 2 and a 5. I'll do it in a different color, the 5x squared. That can be 5 times x times x. And then for 15x, that would be, let me do that in a different color too. That would be 15 times x. And 15 can be broken down to 3 and 5, like that. And so from here, in that video, what they did is they highlighted all the things that they share in common. And so I can see that 15x has an x, another x here, and another x here. So they definitely share an x. But I have no more x's over here, so I'm going to look at the numbers now. I have a 5, and a 5. So I know that my greatest common factor, my GCF, is going to be 5x. All right, so 5x. You can pause it there if you want to write that down. But now that I know that my GCF is 5x, that means I have to pull out a 5x and think about what numbers I need to put here, here, and here in order to get this polynomial back. So I have to ask myself, 5x times something gives me 10x to the third power. Well, 5 times 2 gives me 10, so I know there's going to be a 2 there. X times x squared will give me x to the third power. There's a minus sign in between, so I'm going to bring that down. 5 times something is 5, that's just 1. X times x is x squared. I'll carry down the plus sign. 5x times something is 15x, that's going to be 3. So whenever you get to your answer choices on your exam, remember that you can always redistribute this. So that means multiply everything on the inside of the parentheses by whatever's on the outside, and you should get the original polynomial. So as you're looking through your answer choices, you can redistribute them all and see if you get that same original polynomial. So I'll do that here. 5x times 2x squared, that's 10x cubed, minus sign. 5x times x, that's 5x squared. Carry down the plus sign. 5x times 3 is 15x, and you can see that my polynomial matches the same one above. All right, now you can do the same when it comes to these. If you are genuinely confused, remember that you can just redistribute everything here and see if you get that same polynomial above. Now, yesterday I was mistaken whenever we said the GCF was 4x. The GCF can be negative if the leading term is negative also. So we'll kind of treat it like the last one. We ask ourselves, what do these two numbers share in common with each other? We broke it down yesterday on our review. And so I think we figured out that it shared a 4 in common with it and an x, just like you can see here. All right, but this time our GCF is going to be negative 4x because that leading coefficient, that leading term I mean, is negative. So I'm going to pull out a negative 4x. So then I ask myself, okay, what two numbers in the parentheses will I multiply by to get my original polynomial? Negative 4x times positive 8x, that's going to give me negative 32x squared. I'll bring down that plus sign. Negative 4x times something is positive 12x. Well, I need a negative here, so I need a negative 3. So when I simplify that and rewrite it, I get negative 4x times 8x minus 3. All right? And if you don't believe it, you can redistribute it just like you did over here. Multiply everything on the inside by whatever's on the outside, and you should end up with your original polynomial. So that would be answer choice C. Now, yesterday we talked about number 3, and so we identified the vertex, that is the highest or the lowest point depending on which way the graph is turned. Y-intercept is here at 0, 4. Axis of symmetry is where you would cut it in half and it would fold over onto itself. It's always going to be x equals something. In this case, it's x equals 2. Your maximum is always your y value of your vertex. Now this is a maximum because there is no minimum. It goes down forever. So we have a maximum at 6. The domain is all real numbers for this example. Only this example because it has arrows here. So please be careful when you get to your exam. Your range, it starts at positive 6 and goes down to infinity. So y is everything less than or equal to 6. All right. Number 4, we had to expand this vertex form, and so we had to take that highlighted piece right there and really expand it out. When we did that, we chose the box method to expand. I multiplied x times x. Oh, the way you set it up, by the way, is x minus 1 times x minus 1. X times x is x squared. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Again here, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. When you combine your like terms, you get x squared minus 2x plus 1. But I'm not done. All I've done is expand that highlighted area. So what I did is I plugged that in where I saw that x minus 1 squared. I already squared it, so that 2 goes away. I'm going to take that 2 and distribute it to everything in there. And from here, all I'm going to do is collect like terms, which was that 2 plus 4, which is 6. Now, there was an error there. Our answer is 2x squared minus 4x plus 6, which was not one of your answer choices. So this is the correct answer. Now, remember, if you're ever doubting yourself, you can always go to Desmos Graphing Calculator, and you can make sure that those equal each other. So let me pull up Desmos Graphing Calculator, so that way we can check our answers. Graphing calculator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in that h of x equals 2x minus 1 squared plus 4. All right, so that is our original equation right there that they gave to us up top. Now, what I'm going to do is expand it, and I'm going to plug in my final answer that we got, which was 2x squared minus 4x plus 6. And if you did it correctly, you should have two graphs that stack on top of each other. If you got something different, watch what happens. It's not the same graph. So that is our final answer there. All right, so when in doubt, just graph. Number 5, we talked about different shifts of quadratic functions, and so we said that a was a vertical stretch because it's bigger than the absolute value of 1. This is a shift to the left by 9, so the answer choice was B. All right, number 6 is where we left off, and it gives us the length and the width of this rectangle. There will be a problem like this on your exam, so please make sure you know how to do this. Please remember the difference between perimeter and area. Perimeter is when you add up all the side lengths, and so there was a couple ways we could do this. I chose to do 2 times x minus 3 because there's 2 of them, and then 2 times 2x plus 5, and then I added it all together. If you prefer to do it this way, I'll do it another way and just straight up add them all. It will be a bit messier, but you can still do it that way. X minus 3 plus 2x plus 5 plus x minus 3 plus 2x plus 5. Again, this is the exact same thing I did here. I just kind of took a shortcut. So I would collect all my like terms. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I get 6x. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Plus 5 is positive 4. Minus 3 is 1. Plus 5, did I do that right? Let me think. Negative 3, 5, that's 2. Minus 3 is negative 1. Plus 5 is, yes, positive 4. All right, so you can see that we get the same thing when we do either method. So if you were confused at how I worked it out here, you can add them all up, but just remember that it's easy to make mistakes when you have big, long equations like that. All right, so that's your answer for perimeter. Now area, you have to multiply, this is length times width. So I'm going to take that length, x minus 3, times the width, 2x plus 5. I did a box method because that's what we felt comfortable with. X minus 3 times 2x plus 5. I multiply for my table, x times 2x is 2x squared. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. X times 5 is 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And then I combined my like terms. I tried to circle them in different colors. And I ended up with the area of 2x squared minus x minus 15. So that is problems number 1 through 6. And in class, we're going to go over the rest.